Crop circles. Quote, there is truly an Crop circles. There is truly an astounding phenomenon unfolding in England and elsewhere in the world. It's very unfortunate that the unscientific thinking and perhaps deliberate disinformation of a few individuals have been picked up and accepted by a naive press worldwide. As a result, millions of people have been deprived of the opportunity to experience a consciousness-expanding phenomenon. It is our civilization's loss, but unfortunately, the apparently successful attempt to ridicule or debunk crop circles will do nothing to stop what may be a major transformation ahead for humanity, end quote. Alan Holt, project manager for NASA's International Space Station. We are in a curious situation when the theories of our top modern physicists and astrophysicists arguably predict that we should be experiencing extraterrestrial visitation. Yet any possible evidence of such lurking in the crop circle phenomenon is scoffed at within the scientific community, despite crop circles appearing with greater frequency all over the world for the past 30 years. At least 5,000 authentic crop circles have appeared in over 30 countries, the majority in the United Kingdom. They are more often found in southern England, usually located near ancient sacred sites, but they have also appeared in random crop field in countries such as the United States, China, Canada, Japan, Australia, Germany, Italy, Belgium, Holland, Russia, and Israel. Branded as a hoax by some, the intelligence of the formations, the energy they emanate, and the unique phenomenon surrounding their appearance are unmistakably conscious. Despite decades of research and inquiry, the origin and purpose of genuine crop circles remains completely unknown. Although mainstream scientists have tried to come up with logical explanations for the phenomenon, including random atmospheric whirlwinds or teams of hoaxers who somehow defy gravity and leave behind no footprints, the fact is that crop circles remain a modern-day unsolved mystery. While some crop circles are clearly hoaxes, many others are remarkably intricate geometric patterns that appear in the middle of the night and are virtually impossible to replicate without taking a great deal of time and inexplicably leaving no traces behind of performing the task. After years of meticulous research, many who study the phenomena find themselves stymied over the esoteric geometric communications. The very fact that some sort of energy creates the crop circles, alters the cellular structure of the crop itself, and also fashions them as two-dimensional images using three-dimensional energy whirlwinds suggests that deeper meanings may be hidden within the otherworldly transmissions from another reality. Unfortunately, the groups who should be giving us the answers, namely government researchers and scientists from the USA and the UK, spend more resources debunking crop circles than investigating them with unbiased intent. Having mainstream media ignore the phenomenon or report every crop circle as a hoax simply does not account for the facts. It is hoped that the leaders of the world governments and major media outlets will soon realize that humanity does not need to be protected from the knowledge of this mysterious phenomenon. Just as with sacred geometry and other esoteric principles, crop circles have been marginalized by practically the entire scientific community. Certainly, their unmistakable presence and mind-boggling characteristics challenge the current worldview, rendering conventional science incapable of explaining their origins. According to top officials within government agencies, scientific circles, and the mass media, crop circles simply cannot exist unless they are all hoaxes. Designs in the crop fields. The worldwide phenomenon known as crop circles first came to the world's attention sometime in the mid-1980s. Although a pair of British hoaxers named Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley claimed to have started the phenomenon in 1978, the circles have been around much longer. Their origins were first recorded in the 17th century and have appeared in dozens of countries, but it is in southern England where they occur most frequently and most spectacularly. Beginning in the spring of 1990, the patterns of English crop circles changed dramatically. From simple geometric shapes, they have evolved into elaborate and complex designs. The patterns commonly feature multiple circles with key-shaped or otherwise abstract-shaped objects protruding from a center point. Crop circles take on ancient symbol, sacred designs, other patterns such as Celtic crosses, pentagrams, plus more modern symbols such as the Mandelbrot, Julius set, and other star set fractals. Some of the newer crop circles measure over 125 meters across, much larger than a football field. England is not the only country to receive this natural phenomenon, nor is it only a contemporary occurrence. Taken together, over 10,000 formations have been cataloged worldwide in nearly 50 countries. Some are obviously hoaxed, but others defy explanation. The large geometric designs appear mostly in mature fields of planted crops. Over 100 have been reported in Japanese rice fields alone. An English journal entry from 1678 reports the first known crop circle. Many UK farmers recall simple circles appearing on their farmland for generations. Dozens of English eyewitnesses describe crop circles forming in a matter of seconds, as far back as 1890. Other word-of-mouth testimonies spanning several centuries acknowledge similar phenomena occurring in various locations on mainland Europe. Look at the plants for clues. Hoaxed crop circles are easy to recognize because the stalks get trampled and broken. Genuine crop circles appear flattened in a near instant, are intricately interwoven, yet none of the stalks are bruised or broken. The anomalous features of genuine crop circles continue to defy human explanation or replication. Some of the best clues are within the plants themselves, suggesting a higher intelligence at work. The plant stems are lightly burned around the base. The bend is about a few centimeters above the soil, and their cellular structure is altered. What's more, the electrical discharge that creates genuine crop circles escapes through the plant via small, quote, explosion cavities, end quote, in the stem joints, leaving behind yet more tantalizing clues. The plants are bent in some peculiar way at 45 to 90 degree angle at the node junction near the base of the stalk, woven in a spiraling pattern in such a way that the plants remain alive. If left untouched, the plants within crop circles will have longer nodes than those in undisturbed surrounding crops. Reproductive capacities of plants in crop circles are severely altered. Immature crops will often be incapable of producing seeds or produce stunted seedlings, while mature crops will often experience a significant increase in growth and yield rates. Holes are often blown out of the nodes on crop circle plants, also referred to as the expulsion cavities. This has only been replicated in a lab by heating plants in a commercial microwave for 20 to 30 seconds. Groundwater evaporates immediately following a crop circle formation, and the local electromagnetic field of the surrounding area is discernibly altered. Geomancers and dowsers detect long-lasting energy patterns, not to mention the measured effects on the human biological field. Crop circle formations often appear in corn, barley, or rapeseed fields. The rapeseed plant has a consistency like celery. If the stalk is bent more than about 45 degrees, it snaps apart. Yet in a genuine crop circle formation, the stalks are often bent flat at 90 degrees. No botanist or natural scientist has been able to explain this, nor has it ever been duplicated by a human being outside of a laboratory. The electromagnetic field over the crop area where the image has been laid is often electrostatically charged. Plasma release is known to emit microwave bursts and electromagnetic energy. Crop circles have the capacity to alter the local electromagnetic field so that compasses cannot locate north. Cameras, cellular phones, and batteries cease to operate, and aircraft equipment fails while flying over new formations. The electromagnetic field is one of the hallmarks of an authentic crop circle. Magnetic fluctuations can be detected between the center and outside the formations. Geiger counters record levels of background radiation up to 300% above normal. Radio frequencies fall dramatically within their perimeters. Hours before a crop circle materializes, animals in local farms avoid that particular area of the field or simply act agitated. Car batteries in entire villages fail to operate the morning after a crop circle is located nearby. On some occasions, local power outages are reported. Sometimes the area in the immediate vicinity of a crop circle are littered with strange magnetic particles. These particles were first discovered in the early 1990s while experts were studying a crop circle in England. Plants in the formation were coated with tiny fused particles of iron oxides, which turned out to be hematite and magnetite. Since this discovery, soil sampling is regularly undertaken at crop circle sites. Traces of melted magnetic material adhered to soil grains have regularly been identified. More electromagnetic effects. Eyewitness accounts describe the formations materializing within minutes, usually accompanied by strange lights, crackling sounds, and debilitating or enhancing energy fields. Farmers usually report hearing a low humming noise on the nights the formations materialize. Some researchers who encounter a circle shortly after it has appeared report feeling a weak, faint, or light-headed within the formation. Others report phenomenon such as strange sounds, buzzes, and whines. Some have observed insects and animals that turn away at the perimeter of a crop circle and refuse to enter the area. The military has been involved as observers. When clues suggest a new crop circle may appear, its appearance is usually accompanied by military helicopters that can track electromagnetic movements on radar. Some circles appear in a matter of hours during the pouring rain and violent thunderstorms. Some have appeared in fields near highly secured observatories and scientific installations. Videotaped footage shot in broad daylight shows small, metallic-like balls of bright white light quickly maneuvering in and around the crop fields just before a pattern emerges. The weightless objects clearly move with purpose and intelligence. Many people report malfunctioning of electrical equipment within or around crop circles, including photographers, pilots, and nearby residents. It has even been reported that cell phones will sometimes stop functioning within the boundaries of crop circles, but work perfectly fine just outside of the patterns. This suggests that crop circles may be produced by orbs emitting electromagnetic radiation that leaves behind concentrated energy fields. Dr. W.C. Levengood, a U.S. biophysicist and retired researcher at the Pinelandia Biophysical Laboratory in Michigan, was a leading crop circle researcher. He has since passed away. He measured both magnetic and microwave energy effects involved in the circle-making process. Shortly after a formation occurs, compasses placed in the center of a crop circle will spin randomly. Levengood noted that the stalks of crops are warped in certain directions, often appearing woven, and whatever force is creating them can warp the nodes, he said. After intense investigation, Levengood believes that microwave energy, or rapidly rotating plasma vortexes, create the phenomenon. His theory, however, doesn't explain the obvious intelligence behind the process and its cryptic messages. Decoding the patterns. Interestingly, the whole pattern process seems to interact with the human mind. Some of the symbols reflect ancient patterns derived from the Celtic religion, Hopi culture, hieroglyphics, Eskimo petroglyphs, and Tibetan Thangka art. Patterns featuring modern science depict recent DNA discoveries, musical ratio scales, elaborate faces that appear extraterrestrial, and the ever-popular fractals of chaos theory, which display a mathematical precision only recently developed by humans. A revolutionary new 3D approach to looking at crop circles is called the fractal resolution imaging, or FRI, process that can detect other subtle changes to the plants never before seen. The FRI process reveals amazing hidden messages within authentic crop circles, which can be analyzed from photos taken shortly after a pattern appears. The FRI process is discovering many new messages hidden from the naked eye, yet existing within the circles, adding new dimensionality and new meanings. For example, within the arcs and delineation of the yin-yang formation, FRI reveals a gray alien image hidden in the message. Meanwhile, when processing the Wadden Hill crop circle image, FRI uncovered a human figure in the pattern holding a globe, depicting lungs and glowing with an aura. For the very first time, the FRI process allows the often enigmatic, supplemental, and important new alien communications to be seen, interpreted in an entirely original way, and most importantly, beginning to be understood by astonished humans. Some underscore the original message, while others seem to be revealing hidden warnings. Using sound waves may be one of the energy sources capable of creating genuine crop circles. It may seem preposterous to think sound waves are rendering plants flexible enough to bend, intertwine, and then lie down by applying firm and gentle pressure. Combine this process with the complexity of enormous patterns precisely arranged by sound, or more exactly, ultrasound, and one part of the puzzle begins to emerge. Scientists know that ultrasound applied at very high frequencies can be directed at physical elements and make their molecules move. This requires frequencies in the high MHz range, such as those detected for decades inside crop circles. MHz would be megahertz. If sound is one of the formative principles behind these formations, it is not surprising that crop circles leave such a profound impression on those who are receptive to their tune. Thousands of people who come into contact with crop circles have taken away with them a more positive view of the world and the cosmos above. Earth grid energy. A first step in understanding crop circles, as well as the placement of sacred sites worldwide, is to understand that the Earth has a precise energy grid emanating from the planet. This network of invisible lines completely encompasses the planet with flowing potency. The Earth grid intersects the planet much in the same way veins cover plants and animals. In this sense, the ancient Greeks devised the Gaia hypothesis, the concept that the Earth is a living and spirited mega-organism on which all other life depends. In the early 1900s, Sir Alfred Watkins discovered that many different sacred sites in England, from the Neolithic period right through to more modern abbeys and cathedrals, were built upon straight energy paths he called ley lines. Similarly, most crop circles manifest at key intersection points on the Earth grid. We can conclude that whatever is causing these formations has an acute awareness of this energy network and is attracted to the same sacred sites where early humans built their ancient monuments. Shamans long ago discovered the art of dowsing, which is the use of rods and pendulums to locate where these energy lines or ley lines exist. Early colonial farmers used to witch for water when the landscape was not yet obstructed by expressways and strip malls. Dowsing can also be used to detect underground caves or hidden minerals. Interestingly, most stone circles, pyramids, temples, cathedrals, and significant shrines appear where these energy lines cross. The most prominent ley line on the planet is the Fibonacci, or logarithmic spiral, which emanates from the three Great Pyramids at Giza and mathematically points exactly to the right shoulder of the Sphinx. It is directly underneath this point of immense Earth energy where the yet-to-be-revealed Hall of Records exists. According to Romanian physicist Lanel Ginu, magnetic field lines cannot be just fictitious geometric lines, but something exists where these lines travel. In his view, the field lines are a manifestation of the flow of the pervasive ether. A source field magnetic structure is just what it says, quite literally a finite structure of static magnetic field lines in empty space with no sources in it, and the field going zero towards infinite distances in all directions. It is obtained as a solution to Maxwell's equations. These ramifications suggest an entire world of trans-Maxwellian physics, of which Maxwell's equations may represent only a limit. If it were possible to activate these certain types of energy grids or tracks, these ley lines could become time-space grids that spacecraft could use as a type of highway. These energies are magnetic in nature. Energetic beams from one portal to another construct them. These energies can be collected and relayed from a smaller spacecraft to a larger mothership, or reversed from a mothership to an anchor point on the planet. They can also work from one planet to another planet, utilizing a series of relay stations. These great magnetic grids can be set up utilizing Earth energy. The spacecraft that use the magnetic grids can disembark from that particular system and then proceed into their own system, having stored internally a certain magnetic energy field that will sustain their batteries for some time. The oldest pyramids on the planet may have been built in part to utilize this system of transferring Earth energy. Researcher Ivan T. Sanderson rigorously charted where all the ships and planes were disappearing on Earth and found 10 different vortex points, with the most prominent being the Bermuda Triangle. Strangely, these points were equidistant, and by adding the North and South poles as well, Russian scientists then found the points assembled into a geometric pattern. NASA and NOAA scientists Hanshu Liu and Dr. Althestan Sifhaus independently discovered this same geometric pattern in the structure of undersea volcanic ridges and mountain ranges worldwide when they charted the geodesic Earth grid. Bermuda Triangle. Another strange phenomenon related to UFOs, the Earth grid, and electromagnetic activity is a region in the Atlantic Ocean about 1,000 kilometers southwest of England. The Bermuda Triangle is a vast region off the coast of Florida between Puerto Rico, Miami, and Bermuda, where planes have been lost, as well as ships. Enigmatic disappearances have decreased since the 1970s, but there were many mystifying events before then. The mystery is not only about marine vessels that vanish, with the obvious conclusion that these disappearing ships merely sank or the planes had crashed. The Bermuda Triangle also envelops commercial airliners that were on radar with radio contact and then simply vanished without contact, including the loss of wreckage or no bodies recovered. In certain cases, there were people who disappeared and then reappeared. There was a case in late 1969 where a National Airlines 727 passenger plane flying into Miami had lost all radar and radio contact for 10 minutes. Of course, air traffic controllers were alarmed. 10 minutes went by and communication suddenly came back on. After landing, the air traffic controllers asked them where they had been, and they had no idea what the controllers were talking about. They had no perception that anything had happened, nor had the passengers. After closer inspection, it was discovered that every timepiece in the entire aircraft, every clock, all the passengers' watches, every chronometer, had inexplicably lost 10 minutes of time. It was as if they blinked out of existence for 10 minutes, then came back. Trace evidence of the fabled sunken continent of Atlantis can be found within the infamous Bermuda Triangle. The official confines of the triangle run from Melbourne, Florida, to the British Overseas Territory of Bermuda, to the island of Puerto Rico, while encapsulating most of the Bahamas, including the island of Bimini, where several unexplained sunken ruins are located. The most famous are the underwater megalithic blocks called the Bimini Roads. Strange manifestations, UFO sightings, and time warps are just a few of the unexplained phenomenon said to take place within the Bermuda Triangle. One theory suggests that damaged 12,000-year-old Atlantean firestone crystals on the sea floor have been left generating power out of control, thus having an effect on some of the airplanes and ships passing through the region. Announcements in 1990 and 2012 by American oceanographers confirmed the existence of two giant, perfectly smooth underwater pyramids located in the direct center of the Bermuda Triangle at an incredible depth of 2,000 meters. Whatever phenomenon the Bermuda Triangle may represent, these finds only enhance the legacy of Atlantis and may someday vindicate Edgar Cayce's prophecy about a portion of the fabled sunken continent being located off the shores of Bimini. Police confront alien at crop circle. A police officer contacted British UFO and crop circle experts after seeing 3 aliens examining a freshly made crop circle near Avebury, Wiltshire, in July of 2009. The sergeant, who has not been named, was off duty when he saw the figure standing in a field near Silbury Hill and stopped his car to investigate. When he approached the men, all standing close to 2 meters in height with blonde hair, he could see they were all involved with looking at something and did not notice him approaching. He also heard the, quote, the sound of static electricity, end quote, and when he shouted at them, the trio ran away, quote, faster than any man I have ever seen, end quote. The officer returned to his home in Marlborough, Wiltshire, and contacted paranormal experts and told them he had spotted a UFO. Wiltshire police have refused to comment on the incident, saying it is a personal matter for that officer involved. Crop Circle researcher Andrew Russell co-investigated the bizarre sighting on behalf of the officer and described the circumstances of the sergeant's story. Quote, "At first he thought they were forensic officers as they were dressed in white coveralls. He stopped his car and approached the field. The figures were all over 6 feet tall and had blonde hair. They seemed to be inspecting the crop. This crackling noise seemed to be running through the field, and the crop was moving gently close to where the noise was." End quote. The sergeant shouted to the figures, who at first ignored him, not glancing at him. When he tried to enter the field, they looked up and began running away. The officer said, quote, "They ran faster than any man I have ever seen. I'm no slouch, but they were moving so fast. I looked away for a second, and when I looked back, they were gone. I then got scared. The noise was still around, but I got an uneasy feeling and headed for the car. For the rest of the day, I had a pounding headache I couldn't shift." End quote. The bizarre incident occurred on the morning of July 6th, as the police officer was driving past the ancient earthen mound called Silbury Hill. Since he had witnessed other paranormal activity previously, the officer contacted Crop Circle expert Colin Andrews, who investigated the incident and said he is convinced by the police officer's story. Andrews concludes, quote, "I am quite convinced the officer had an experience that day, and one that we have not fully explored. I think with the unusual movement of the beings and the poltergeist experience, there is too much additional information to say that nothing significant occurred." End quote. A deeper meaning in the patterns. If not of earthly origin, who or what might be creating these amazing geometric formations? And what are they trying to tell us? Crop circles appear to be communications from advanced civilizations beyond our third dimensional perception on this planet. The designers are seemingly making contact with us by delivering key information about the way energy works in the universe. What other critically important messages could we receive as we continue to pollute the air we breathe, fight to take the oil under other people's land, and risk nuclear annihilation of life as we know it on this planet? This corresponds with high-level testimony that UFOs have disarmed nuclear warheads while in flight or stationary missiles in the silos. It appears there is a higher power that seeks to protect us from the dangers of our own nuclear weapons and usher in a golden age of humanity with access to unlimited free energy and living peacefully on a healthy and sustainable planet. The fundamental patterns of the torus and the vector equilibrium, as discussed so eloquently by Foster Gamble in his movie Thrive, appear to be central concepts in the organization of the universe. These shapes depicting the primary flow and structure of energy show up in hundreds of crop circles. Could they be showing us a way to access clean, abundant, and completely free energy? Or a possible key to traveling through space-time? Another interesting feature is the proximity of crop circles to Neolithic stone circles. Some croppies ask, what came first? Perhaps the crop circles appeared thousands of years ago and ancient people erected the stones to hold the energy or the message, or vice versa. The entities responsible for the genuine patterns are sometimes even more explicit in their communication. In 2001, a crop circle appeared next to the Chilbolton Radio Telescope in England. It was designed to be a response to the 1974 transmission message sent out from the Arecibo Radio Telescope in Puerto Rico. The original pictorial message sent from Earth described basic human features, such as our number system, important biological elements, DNA structure, shape of the human figure, world population, location of Earth within our solar system, and an image of the Arecibo dish transmitter that was used to send the transmission into space. They responded with a similarly designed crop formation in 2001. By using the exact same code pattern and design, the ETs returned similar information by depicting themselves as aliens with larger heads, a different DNA structure, and other enticing information. Visiting crop circles. Genuine crop circles often manifest within short distances from known sacred sites in England, especially Neolithic sites. Most crop circles appear in the southwestern Wiltshire and Hampshire regions, with Stonehenge as the apparent center of activity. Follow travel directions to Stonehenge and the Salisbury Plain or Avebury. The Silent Circle Information Center and Cafe at Churchill in Wiltshire, close to the megalithic village of Avebury, is a good place to start. Crop circle season starts in late spring and ends in the autumn, just at the time when farmers harvest their fields. Some believe genuine crop circles materialize in order to direct information into the Earth's subtle energy grid. Thus, the patterns inspire people who visit them to feel enabled to pursue and achieve their highest potential. Conversely, other people experience splitting headaches or other painful physical ailments. Those visiting a genuine crop circle, especially a fresh one, should walk away immediately if feeling uncomfortable in any way. Otherwise, visiting genuine crop circles is perfectly safe. However, some may require permission to enter.